What's up, everybody? How are you? Today is April the 4th, Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Mike Caluzzi here, and today I am going to talk to you about the words you choose make all the difference in making a good first impression. So, first and foremost, I'm going to say thanks for joining me today. If you are joining me live, I would love for you to type a Y in the chat box. If you're watching on the replay, just type in replay, and I would love to get that feedback from you. So, as we move forward here, I'm going to just have raise a hands here, show of hands. Who is uh, who remembers a great band from back in the 80s, 82 to be exact? There was a band called Missing Persons. They released a great record, one of my all-time favorite records in that era. Uh, and they had a song on it called Words. Okay, great song. So in that song, they have a line that I just absolutely love, and it was so pertinent today as I was preparing for this video. So the line is, "What are words for when no one listens anymore?" All right. So if I say that, maybe that will trigger some people's memories there. But again, great song. So song was released, like I said, in 82, 40 years ago. So as we think about it, and we think about its relevancy today, it's actually more relevant today than ever because we live in a world, obviously, that's filled with people who are constantly distracted, they're overwhelmed, and they're really impatient. So even now, I'm sure as you're watching this video, you may be screaming, okay, like in your head, like, okay, Mike, like, what's your point? Get on with it. And I get it. So here's my point. Words matter. Okay. Words matter. Now you may say, well, gee, you're being an attorney and blah. No, words matter because you have to recognize in business, they are the ultimate communication tool, right? And you have to also recognize that in life, words have meaning and they have consequence. They could lead, inspire people, they can motivate people, educate people, right? They can compel us to act, right? They're extremely magical forms of expression, and they can open up just so many great windows of opportunities like no other form of expression. But recognizing that despite this power, right, and the importance of words, so many of us just use them as disposable commodities, right? And we don't really pay the attention that they deserve or give them the regard or the respect for their power. So if you are in business, you've got to recognize that words matter. And no matter what the circumstance is, whether you're in a business meeting, you're at a networking event, or you are in the proverbial elevator giving the elevator pitch, um, you've got to recognize the importance of clearly identifying and articulating what it is that you do in your business, and recognize that it's up to you. And we know that in many situations when people ask us what we do, that's the situations where we are quote unquote making the first impression. So it's extremely important that we articulate things clearly during that process so we can make the good first impression. However, again, show of hands here, have you ever been in a situation where people have asked you what you do and it panic strikes you, right? You go into this level of panic and you go into this endless rant about all these meaningless details to them or kind of geek speak, and you lose them really quickly. And then you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm blowing this opportunity here, like in real time. It's crazy. And then there's been other times, I'm sure, right, who's been there where you're not really prepared, so you become like a deer in the headlights, right? The eyes go wide, mouth goes dry, and we just proceed down the road of and you knows and kindas, not being able to finish and complete sentences. And it just creates a scenario which could have been a perfect opportunity for you to showcase who you are as a professional and what you do. But it kind of just gets to one of those scenarios where you kind of wish it never happened. And that's where we don't want to go, right? We want to be able to move and operate in a very empowered state. So if I've learned anything in my career, it's about understanding the power of clear, direct communication and how it could lead to positive production first impressions. So, in my coaching business, one of the things I work on specifically with folks is to help them to create an effective one-liner. So when you think about a one-liner, what it is that you do, there's a few things that you want to keep in mind. There's actually three points. So first is you want to be able to understand what the problem is that your client is having. All right, number one, most importantly, what's the problem your client is having? Right. Number two, what is the solution that you or your product is offering? Right. Okay, that's number two. And the third one is what's the result that your client is going to receive as a result of your service or product? Okay, so again, type a Y in the chat box if this is appealing to you, if this is something that resonates with you, or if you have a comment that you would want to share. I would really appreciate it. So again, three things that will help you to start formulating your that one liner, and that is identifying the problem that your client is having, two, the solution to which your product or service provides, and three, the result your client will receive. Because you got to remember, during that situation when you're speaking to folks, you want to be able to, within those few seconds, pique their interest, right? So that you can, keep their attention and have that opportunity to demonstrate what it is that you offer. And if you can tap into some pain points that a person is experiencing, you're going to strike a chord with them, okay? Because you got to remember, people are always thinking about, hey, well, what's in it for me? And if you are striking an emotional chord with them, right, they're going to pay attention. And that's going to give you an opportunity to have a really meaningful impact. So, as you're going through this process and you are looking to craft your one liner, here's a few pointers to think about. All right. First and foremost, you don't want to get fancy with your words, okay? You want to use very simple language. Don't use geek speak. Don't use really technically advanced words. Use simple, everyday language that people can easily comprehend. All right. Number two, you want to be as clear and concise as possible. All right. So, in doing so, you want to avoid like sappy catchphrases or like hokey taglines. I know, a lot of us are, we had this immediate kind of feeling that, oh, wow, it's something to remember me by. It don't. Just stick to the basics. Fundamentals always, always, always win. All right. So avoid those sappy catchphrases and hokey taglines because remember, direct communication is always the best. So you're going to want to be able to clearly define all these types of things. And most importantly, clearly define the result that you're going to provide. Now, in formulating this one-liner, you don't have the opportunity, and this is not the proper platform or forum to go into a lot of details on the how to. All right. This is not the platform for the how to. Okay. You'll have another time and place to give them more details on the how to if you do a good job on just telling them what it is that you do and the solution you provide. Okay. So you got to remember what's in it for the way people are thinking it's what's in it for them and how does this relate to me and or do I immediately tune it out? That's what people are thinking at all times. So if this is helpful to you, again, type away in the chat box, give me a comment. I would love to get your feedback. Now, as we move forward, you got to remember too, one of the biggest things that you need to remember is that a confused mind never makes really decisions. They stay in action, and they don't make decisions. Okay, they stay inactive, or they just clouded judgment or a clouded viewpoint on what someone's doing. They'll never understand or identify you with a specific task or service when it comes up in their life. So you want to be able to close the communication loop. And that's what these three simple parts will be able to do for you. You'll be able to close that loop so you don't keep people guessing on what it is that you're doing. So as you formulate these things, you can test them out, right? It's really simple. And the best way to test it out is to just ask someone, right? Ask three people who really don't know much about what you do. Hey, what do you think about this? Does it, and see what their reaction is when you say it to them, right? And obviously, the more you practice, the better you will get at it. But recognizing that if you test it out and just have a simple level of feedback on them, saying, yeah, I know exactly what you do. It's really simple, it's concise, and great. You're on the right path. But also don't be afraid to change things up a little bit, to just fine tune them, right? It's always, always good. Now, a beautiful thing is once you get that one liner locked in, not only does it really serve as your go-to that you can memorize, but you can also use it in other pieces of your marketing collateral. So here's an example of what I mean. One of the clients that I'm working with currently, they do software development for medical providers and different systems for doctors to communicate with their patients online. So they're really intelligent, really talented, competent, technical people. But unfortunately, they're frustrated with their level of growth. And when I spoke to them about, hey, what is it you offer? They had a difficult time articulating what it is that they do in a really concise way. And it became a very frustrating process for everyone. But we immediately recognized, hey, this is something that you've got to work on. We've got to get you to a very clear one-liner. So we worked it up, and we were able to come up with a great one-liner that will help. It really clearly defines the problem that their clients are experiencing and the solution that they offer with an identifiable result. So in their particular situation, we were dealing with a scenario where many of the software that these doctors' offices have is kind of clunky and outdated, and this interface with the patients it's not user friendly, and it creates a breakdown in communication that really becomes a frustrating process for patients and doctors alike, which ultimately then has a negative impact on the likelihood of patients returning. All right. So the solution that my client offered was obviously that they provided was they use intuitive AI technology to streamline the process, right? So when we thought about that, say, okay, well, what's the ultimate result that people are looking for and able to achieve? And it really boils down to just creating increased, operational efficiencies. So uh, patients can have a better customer experience, right? And if they have a better customer experience, then obviously that's going to then it's going to percolate down to making sure that the doctors are able to maintain good levels of communication and keep their patients into their community longer, which ultimately results in more higher revenues, right? So that ultimately then leads to higher subscription renewals for the software. So by us going through this process, we were able to come up with a great one-liner. So I'm going to share it with you. Tell me what you think after everything we just kind of went over in the video. So, um, so our one-liner, what we came up with is this really simple statement, and it says this: many small medical practices struggle to have user-friendly online systems to communicate with their patients. At Advanced AI Solutions, we create intuitive and simple systems to eliminate communication breakdowns between doctors and their patients. Boom. Simple, clean, easy, right? Not a lot of crazy language, really simple that we had the main points as far as what that we do. And it gives people a really good intuitive way. Oh, I know exactly what you're doing. Another example is really within my own coaching practice, right? Because if you think about who I work with, I work with service-based professionals and entrepreneurs. So my one-liner is really simple. I help frustrated service-based professionals and entrepreneurs eliminate overwhelm and frustration through personalized coaching programs so they can confidently grow their business with clarity and a renewed sense of purpose. Simple, easy, right? Can say it over and over again. So, as we wrap up here, number one, I want to say thank you for tuning in. And if you are somebody who is struggling to kind of find the right words to describe your business, I encourage you to reach out to me. We can schedule a free consult, and that we can go over the problems that you're having and come up with a solution that makes sense. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you have a great day.